Welcome to today's lecture. I am Dr. Saleha Jamal, Associate Professor from Department of Geography, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. Again, I am here to discuss the application of spatial analysis. These application which we were discussing is in continuation to the previous lecture. In previous lecture, we have discussed the application of spatial analysis with respect to the urban planning and development and with respect to the monitoring disease and health management. So in continuation to that, now we are going to discuss some other applications of spatial analysis like agriculture and farming, water analysis and management, and hydrological modeling. So, as per the previous lecture, we have seen that mostly we used to model the different entities on different location of the Earth's surface with respect to spatial data and their attributes, we can say. In the same way, the application can be seen now in agriculture and farming, water analysis management, and hydrological monitoring. So spatial analysis, it is important to note that, very much important to understand that the spatial analysis is more than the mapping of the physical object, because it is a wrong notion that we only think that the spatial analysis is just mapping the physical object, but instead it is more than the mapping the physical object. As we know, the spatial information is generally collected from the multiple sources. For example, it may be collected from the satellite imageries, may be collected from the aerial photographs, it may be collected from the GPS, it may be collected from the surveys, on-site observations, etc. So generally the spatial data is collected from varied sources. So decision makers can use and consolidate all these version of this spatial data in order to take a collective action on the need, what is particularly needed and which problem is to be addressed. So all this data which is received, which is acquired from the various sources, that can be integrated to get some smart results, we can say. So spatial analysis, we say, generally play a very important role in precision agriculture, in precising the agriculture and the organizations of smart agriculture. So this can impact deeply the spatial analysis, it is said, that can impact deeply the analysis of the state of agricultural lands, mainly the irrigated lands, and can find a positive solutions to the problems based on spatial data consisting of different thematic layers, because as we know, there are different factors which affects agriculture. For example, agroecological factors like soil, climate, groundwater, weather, it has a direct impact with the agriculture. It impacts agriculture directly. And there are various social factors like population, settlements, demands, roads for the transport. These are the factors which somehow that also impacts agriculture. Factor like that directly affect the efficient production in agriculture. So through the spatial analysis, thematics maps can be developed, overlay of maps can be seen, various problems can be solved. So in short, we can say the spatial analysis is playing a very key component in not only in agriculture and water analysis and all, but also it also plays a very important role in hydrology also, hydrological modeling also, the study of water resources, processes. It involves, generally it involves various spatial data, geographic information system in order to manipulate, in order to visualize and model spatial data related to the hydrological phenomena. So the content of today's lecture is mainly the application is related to the agriculture farming, that is crop monitoring, predict crop yield, monitor farm animals, soil nutrient analysis. Another part is related to the water analysis and management, where we are going to discuss its application on wetland monitoring and assessment. And lastly, we are going to discuss the hydrological modeling with relation to the digital elevation modeling. So, coming to the agricultural farming. We know in agriculture, the spatial analysis enables generally most of the aspects, but few of the aspects only we can discuss here, like crop. We are going to discuss the crop monitoring, predicting crop yield, soil analysis, and etc. The productivity results from multiple variables which are in integration. For example, what is the climatic condition, how in climate different elements we have to see, what is the temperature condition, what is the precipitation condition. These all condition is making the environment for the agriculture conducive or not, what type of soil, the variation in the soil, not only the types of soil, but the soil nutrients present in the soil, the time period the sunlight is available. All these aspects work in sync in and affect the agriculture of a particular place, the crop productivity of a particular phase. So these factors, we know that these factors vary geographically, and crop monitoring can be better facilitated by capturing the spatial data, by capturing GIS data through remote sensing. This is nowadays very much in use, that we are capturing the GIS data through the remote sensing, which helps to track the crop performance, the distribution of the crops, the environmental variation that is affecting the crop field. Even through the spatial analysis, generally we can find out, you can see here, we can find out which type of crop is engaging the particular region. For example, here crop monitoring using the Sentinel-1 data, you can find here the blue color is showing the sugar beet, green color is showing the potato, red color is showing maize, yellow color is showing wheat, while purple color is showing grass. So through this you can even monitor which crop is engaging. What is the intensity of cropping, that can be monitored. If the intensity is high, what is the health of the crop, that even can be monitored. So these all things can be monitored, and that can play a very important role in different types of crop monitoring. For example, if we have to predict crop yield, as we know, the climate is changing day by day, it is impacting the world in different ways. So parallelly, it is also impacting the agriculture very much. Farmers have to study in better way the crop yield predictions through various means and methods. Nowadays, the satellite gathered images are much in use, that reveal the weather data, what is the wind condition, what is the temperature condition, what is the pressure condition. We cannot only predict the present one, even we can predict the future one through these spatial data. Along, we can merge these spatial data with the soil conditions, what are the nutrients present in the soil, what is the moisture condition of the soil. So by syncing all this data, we can have better understanding when the crop is to be, when should be the sowing period, when is to be the harvesting period. Moreover, one can determine the possibility of any potential pest attacks, that is based on the satellite imagery data. If the certain crops is affected by the certain disease, plant disease, that even can be identified through the spatial analysis. And when we are going to combine all these factors, so it will help to determine the appropriate time for crop harvesting, how to manage the crop, how to take care the cultivated fields, and all the allied processes related to the agriculture. So in this way, it is helping to predict the crop yield. So another aspect of this agriculture, monitoring farm animals, which is day by day it is emerging a lot, monitoring the farm animals. We know farm animals can impact the agriculture setup in positive way and negative way. Both the farm animals are used for plying purpose in many countries, mostly in the developing countries. Farmers having the low small land holdings, there the farm animals are playing very important role. But when we see the negative sides, the freely moving cattle can be monitored with the spatial analysis, sometimes which is very much harmful for the agricultural setups. Moreover, the livestock research has shown that these moving cattle produce methane, one of the greenhouse gas which is responsible for the global warming. Furthermore, these livestock also contaminates farm soils by releasing nitrogen. The soil then through the surface runoff mixes with the water bodies, and such rivers and gets polluted considerably. So considering such environmental impact, one can employ the spatial data, one can employ the tool like GIS tool in order to study the damage caused to the natural ecosystem at various places where livestock move around. So this can help a lot, not only to the sector concerned, but even the farmers at individual level to take step at the right time. So another aspect in agriculture, how spatial analysis is playing role, that is very important to study, that is soil nutrient analysis. Because we know there is lots of variation in agricultural practices in different region, and these agriculture, somewhere we can see diversification in agriculture can be seen, crop diversification can be seen. In some places monocropping is seen. In monocropping, generally we see that nutrient needed by the particular crop get exhausted from the field. So it is advised to go for the diversification of the crops in order to retain those nutrients. So what is the availability, the soil, particular soil is lacking in which nutrient? According to their nutrient analysis, even we can plan which type of crop is suitable for this particular region, for this particular field. So soil nutrients are playing very important role in carrying out the successful agricultural processes. With spatial analysis and various GPS tools, farm monitoring is becoming nowadays much easy. So especially the soil specialist now can analyze the spatial data in order to determine the soil properties in terms of the pH level, in terms of the nitrogen content, and all the other parameters which is useful for the plants growth, for the agriculture purposes. So these spatial analysis along with the interpolation, we can say, with such method using the geospatial analysis and along with the interpolation method such as linear interpolation, IDW interpolation, that would help in deciding the unknown values, because we can only, the soil scientists, the soil specialists, take the site data from soil from the different sites. Suppose if from this particular map you can find out the different sites from which the soil was tested, and there was a region which was having the unknown values. So through the interpolation method we can know the values for the unknown region having no values. So this information allows revealing the spatial variability in the soil features, which particular land is more vulnerable and need more attention in order to retain its fertility. So these are the things that is to be addressed, we can say. So this information allows the concerned authorities to implement the practices that restore soil nutrients and help better soil management. Depending on its nutritional content, farmers can also plan to add appropriate fertilizer to the soil which is only needed. Generally, the trend is the farmers used to take general fertilizer and they used to mix with the soil. But actually, when such type of testing and when through the very spatial data, when it is revealed that soil is lacking in these particular nutrients, that it becomes very much easy for the farmers to only mix those nutrients which is needed for the soil. Thus it plays a very important role. It can also monitor everything, the pH value of the soil, the cation exchange capacity of the soil, and various soil parameters, which helps a lot in increasing the crop production. So thus we can see few of the applications. We have seen there are n number of application in agriculture field also where the spatial analysis can be used, and we have discussed among them few. Now, another very important application in water analysis is of the spatial analysis is in water analysis and management. This water analysis and management through the spatial data that involve leveraging geographical information system, mainly the GIS, and the spatial data. They use both. The spatial data is generally used in the GIS environment to have the better understanding in order to monitor and make informed decision about the water resources. So, in water analysis and management, through the spatial analysis, even we can move for water quality monitoring. In water quality monitoring, we can monitor and assess the quality of, you can see here, we can monitor and assess the quality of water bodies by integrating the spatial data on various water parameters, pollution sources and land use. We can integrate all these data in order to know the water qualities. Not only this, we can collect and analyze spatial data on water qualities and use the indicators like temperature, dissolved oxygen, nutrient level, etc. Even we can find out the point sources of pollution like industries, wastewater treatment plants, etc. And even we can find out the non-point sources like agricultural runoff. All these things can be found out in when we are monitoring the water quality. Similarly, spatial analysis of water quality data helps to identify the pollution hotspots. So, which are the pollution hotspots? Which are the zone which is most affected by the water pollution? That will be under identified, and we can understand the sources of contamination, and we can prioritize the areas for its remediation efforts. It facilitates targeted water quality management strategies, which is very much important, we can see. So, similarly, you can see here that water quality monitoring and the role of spatial analysis in this. We know that the fresh water ecosystem is occupying a relatively very small segment of our planet surface. In that we can see that the wetlands, lakes, mostly these freshwater system are one of the fragile ecosystem, and which is very much sensitive, and it provides although it is providing various services like ecological services, we can say social services, economic services. Various communities are dependent on the livelihood on these water bodies. Thus it is paving the way for the pollutant accumulation in this fragile because of its functions. Lots of functions it is providing. Thus these functions are paving way for the pollution accumulation in these water bodies. Mostly the human induced factors are responsible for that. For example, industrialization, population growth, urbanization, sewage runoff to these water bodies, making the water bodies as a dumping sites. In previous lecture, we have also seen a diagram where the few dumping sites can be seen around the particular water body. Although that particular body is identified as Ramsar site, but still the dumping sites can be seen around that water bodies. So anthropogenic activities like urbanization, sewage runoff, agricultural practices, and many times the climate change and the use of artificial insecticides and pesticides in the surrounding catchments of these ecosystems have resulted in degrading and deteriorating the water quality of these water bodies. So in order to make these water bodies sustainable, uh, monitoring of the water bodies, knowing the status of the water bodies is very much important, as these water bodies are facing various issues of degradation. Whereas at spatial aspect we can even monitor its degradation with the temporal aspect, etc. Thus, we can say spatial analysis increases, exacerbates with the help of the spatial analysis and its effective techniques. We can find out to control point-based sources of pollution in the water bodies, and we can also find out to control and monitor the non-point sources of pollution to resolve these issues. Now, in water analysis arrangement, I have took one of the very important and burning issue, that is of wetland monitoring and assessment. We know that the spatial data and also nowadays the GIS is playing a very important role in wetland monitoring and assessment by providing lots of spatial data management, its analysis, visualization, capabilities that are essential for for understanding and managing this valuable ecosystem. It is very significant application, we can say, that now the spatial data in the GIS environment due to the complex and dynamic nature of the wetland ecosystem. So spatial analysis aids in understanding the spatial pattern, the dynamics, the changes through time, and the ecological significance of the wetland. So because these are very much fragile ecosystem, wetland monitoring and assessment is a spatial analysis involved utilizing geographic information system and spatial techniques to analyze and manage wetland ecosystem. Not only this includes collecting various spatial data on wetland characteristics, maybe on the quality of water, maybe on the size, quantity, quality of that particular wetland, mapping the changes over time, assessing the health of the wetland environment, whether the particular wetland is hypertrophic, oligotrophic, or what, whether it can be used or not for specific purposes. All these can be monitored and can be deduced from such spatial analysis. Not only the water bodies are important for the rural areas, but even in the urban areas also water bodies play a very important role. It is important for the urban to balance the urban ecosystem. It performs various functions like source of drinking water, we can say. It recharges ground, it supports biodiversity, it provides livelihood services, etc. If we see to the data that the numbers of these wetlands are declining day by day. I have taken just a small example. For example, in Bangalore, in 1960s there were 262 water bodies, but now only 10 of them hold water. So water bodies have become even more critical in current times when the cities are facing the challenge of rapid and unplanned urbanization. So thus it becomes very much important to monitor the status, the dynamics in these wetlands in order to balance the ecosystem. Here just an example is taken that we can monitor the changes through time, the dynamics of wetland through time. For example, in 1990 and in 2020, we can see lots of reduction in particular water body. Similarly, this is the water body, particularly the Dal Lake of Srinagar city. you can see the mapping of 2000 here, and here you can see the mapping of 2020. So comparing both these in just 20 years, even you can know through the spatial analysis that water bodies have shrunk a lot. What is the percentage, how much it has shrunk, that also it is possible to calculate through the spatial analysis, and to which type of land use it has been transformed, that also can be that also it is possible to know through the spatial analysis. So this is just a small example I have taken just to show the positions, what type of position of this water bodies nowadays we are having at different places. This is one of the example I have taken why these water bodies are also very much important in the urban landscape. This diagram shows the loss of water bodies due to the urbanization, which is increasing the flood events. Students, you must have heard about the urban flooding nowadays a lot. The frequency of urban flooding, like you must have heard in Chennai, in Mumbai, we can say in Delhi, it is increasing day by day. The frequency is increasing day by day. What is the cause behind this? Here the outer circle, semicircles and all the darker one, the outer circle here, it is showing the loss in the water bodies. This is the loss in the water bodies, and this, the solid inner circle, the solid lighter blue solid inner circle, that is showing the number of major flood events. What is the possible reason? That all can be revealed through the spatial analysis. We are seeing that on one hand we are losing the water bodies. If we are losing the water bodies, it means we are losing the holding capacity of the water of that particular urban area. On the other hand, the built up space is expanding. It means we are concretizing the urban landscape, so the water soaking capacity of that particular landscape is also decreasing day by day with increase of the concretization. So on one hand we are decreasing the holding capacity through the loss of water bodies, through the shrinking water bodies, and on the other hand we can see we are concretizing the surface, so decreasing the soaking water capacity of the urban landscape. So what will be the repercussion? It is but obvious where this surface runoff will move. It can be seen in terms of the urban floods. So here we can say all these things can be monitored, and accordingly the city planners, the urban planners and different organizations can play their role, and can form different plans and strategies to stop this this type of we can say the at which alarming rate these water bodies are decreasing. Again, I have, in continuation to that, whatever water management we have seen, monitoring and management of these water bodies we have seen, another very much important role that is played by the spatial analysis is in hydrological modeling. So, developing the spatial models to simulate and analyze water movement, we can even see the runoff and the watershed dynamics with time. It may involve like digital elevation models. We can also, through the spatial analysis, we can find out the flow accumulation and direction of the water. We can find out the rainfall runoff modeling, and even the floodplain can be mapped, which are the vulnerable zone and which are the flood prone areas, that can also be mapped. Thus, the hydrological modeling with the help of the spatial data enables a very much comprehensive understanding about the movement of water, about the distribution of water, and it also help in water resource management. If the water is getting lost, it is not collected somewhere and runoff can be seen everywhere. So we can also use it for water resource management, like flood risk assessment can be done through the spatial analysis, and accordingly the decision making for the sustainable water use and conservation can be planned. So in this, just we are going to discuss about the little bit about the digital elevation model, like through spatial analysis, particularly the DEMS, that is the digital elevation models. It generally represents the terrain and the elevation of the landscape. It is very important to know about the terrain and elevation of the landscape, because we know generally water moves according to the elevation, according to the slope. So through the dam, we can find the terrain and elevation of the landscape. This digital elevation model are very much important for understanding the direction of the flow of water, the path of the flow of water, even in identifying the watershed boundaries from elevation data, and even in delineating the river networks through which the water resource management can be done. So not only there are a lot of applications. The purpose here to discuss some of the applications to make you understand about there is a lot of applications about the applications of spatial analysis. We can have these application can be seen not only the things the aspect we have discussed, but applications can even be seen in our day-to-day life. Even sitting in one place, we are now at different apps, we are booking the cabs, we are booking our even meal, sitting in our home in our cozy rooms. Even we can check the status of delivery of the meals, we can check the status or running status of the train. So lots of application in our day-to-day life. Even we can see while traveling, we can find out the route through the GPS working. We can even find out the shortest route, we can even find out the traffic free route. So lots of application even we are using in our day-to-day life. So these application has immense importance overall, whether in our life, whether in environmental management, whether in water resource management, whether in agriculture sector, whether in urban planning and development, whether in health sector. Lots of applications can be seen, which is making our life day by day more easier, we can say, and bit fast. So that's all for today's lecture. In this section, we'll be meeting for the next lecture soon. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.